I'm going to be talking about some pretty heavy stuff, so if you've come for one thing and one thing only, it's in the description as well. Here it is. And that's the one thing that I wanted to show you, if you didn't want to hear all the rest of this stuff. Thank you. Life can really suck. But you know what? It's better than the alternative. Every day I think about that. Things I've been doing really recently is just diving into quotes. When certain things happen in my life and I'm not really sure how to respond to them and how to cope with them, I like to just sit and think through them deeply, like huge, fundamental, existential truth thinking. This isn't an escape from reality for me. This is a more, let me just sit on the idea and think deeply and let it process. And I sort of have an idea so far of the giant existential truths that hammer away at my head every single day, especially with happenings like with what happened today. And I've been thinking about Alan Watts lectures. I'll put some videos below, but there's specifically one lecture Alan Watts does. The channel is called The Journey of Purpose, JTOP. One of the videos Alan Watts just talks about being alive and the gratitude of being alive and appreciating and just being grateful for everything. There's a very powerful message in that video that Alan Watts describes. He summarizes how when we feel alone, when we feel separated from the rest of the universe, when we're not intimately connected to it and grateful for it and feel a part of it, we can feel a stranger to everything around us. And when I think of people that are suffering on the inside and that feel like their own suffering is inseparable and that they're suffering that no one else is undergoing, they begin to feel a stranger. And that can make people hostile, because if people feel alone and they feel separated and they don't feel like people can empathize with them or people could give them sympathy and help them out and guide them in life, then they begin to feel hostile and they begin to feel like they're not being noticed and they're not lovable and they're not valuable and they're not human. And the feeling of not being human is a very destructive and deep feeling if you so believe and embrace that feeling. I think humanity is inherently good. That's just perspective. Maybe he felt a stranger in the world and his expectations, maybe he had expectations of some situation, and I'm not knowledgeable because I have not watched the video, I have not read tweets about this, I only heard about it, turned off Twitter autoplay, and then went through my day without talking about it. I didn't talk about this with anybody today. I didn't. The other point that Alan Watts makes in that video is you can always blame somebody for something happening. Gun laws, you can always blame other people, you can always blame the family, you can always blame his bullies, you can always blame somebody. It's very difficult because there are a lot of factors involved, and what it comes down to is the individual, something snapping, or something not snapping, or a choice not being made, and he's just completely living his life reacting to everything. Or it has some sort of chemical imbalance. That's why I think it's progressive. It's something that happens either in phases and continues, or it happens in a snap. Have you ever had a moment where your expectations of reality are just completely flipped upside down? I think every single one of us experiences something where our sense and expectation and our mindset of reality is completely destroyed of what we think is true. And this might happen in phases as well as you grow up and you learn more about the world. The reality is not what our mind movie is. It's completely different. That's why it's unexpected. And these complicated, complex, big ideas where we take our life and our community and the world into a bigger context is extremely hard to understand and extremely hard to accept. And the decision to remove yourself from that situation, to take it all away, is not always a cowardly decision. It may not be a very good decision, but it's a difficult decision to take your own life. I mean, this is why these topics are serious. Sometimes when I think about the idea of being a stranger, of feeling a stranger in the world, I often think about how we can sort of want to attach our value to something because we feel like we're not connected. We feel a sort of have to put on an identity or do something that will make us be remembered. I guess he felt that his suffering somehow was told to make him feel remembered, maybe. I could be wrong. I wholeheartedly stand on the idea that I'm wrong about every single thing I'm talking about. When someone is unstable, when somebody is suffering or masking suffering on the inside, it could be a ticking time bomb, or they could want to make other people feel the same way so that they can empathize with them. Because they feel a stranger, they feel like it's not part of them. One of my last points about Alan Watts is he talks about how when you feel like you have to gain power over the universe, when you feel like you have to get a leg up on the universe, as I like to say, and you have to fight everything, and you have to resist everything, and you have to just not trust the universe, instead of trusting something, instead of flowing with the river, or using the sail to adjust to the wind, or trusting others, you're much more likely to strangle yourself fighting everything than you are to let go and trust everything. You may be let down when you trust other people, and when you trust things. But when you're resisting and fighting everything, You cause so much personal suffering. And I stand by that. It's complicated. We really don't understand our brains yet. It's amazing how we've developed self-awareness, but our brain over millions of years our brain has developed far enough we've been unable to catch up with its development, but we've still maintained the awareness of how complicated we are. Another thing I'm reminded of is when Hank Green said that he doesn't enjoy seeing bad people succeed at bad things, and he doesn't enjoy seeing bad people fail or do bad things. And that's how I feel too. I don't really hate human beings anymore, I just pity them. I pity that there's so much suffering going on inside of them like that they don't have the empathy or the vulnerability to be able to reach out to people and ask for help. Also complicated. It's complex. The test of life is complex. The test will measure whether you're able to place your life and your community in a broader context, and the test will last in your entire life. It will be comprised of the millions of decisions that make your life yours, and everything is on it. Millions and millions of little choices, compounded over time, give you the result. I don't really hate things anymore. It doesn't make sense. I always go back to the idea that all human beings are intrinsically valuable and worthy and lovable. And gratitude is the proper response to the opposite alternative of being alive, right? No. The alternative to death. And you have to just say yes to what happens. That doesn't mean you don't work toward changing it and making it better, but it means you accept it. Because that's, I think, where the real work begins of creating value, is accepting what is and seeing what is, and then adjusting to it, instead of fighting it. Because we all know where fighting leads. So yeah, from my perspective, humanity leans toward the inherently good side. That's Vlaugust number 26. Thank you for watching. Keep being you. You value universal you, because you are. You know you are. I mean, what else would you be? And enjoy and see what is as much as you possibly can. To never truly know how much time I have on this planet, or whatever any of this is. I'm gonna go do a Google Hangout with some friends. Internet hug! Would that work? I'm hugging the tripod though. Internet hug! Yay! There's no easy way for me to block the camera though. Yeah! See ya tomorrow.